What's the best time to start taking steroids? Well, when you get old and your doctor says you should. Boom! Let's talk about steroids, okay? A lot of people ask me, when is the best time to start cycling or taking steroids? When are you ready? So I'm going to give you some thoughts and some opinions on when it's a good time to take steroids. And a lot of you might not like what I have to say. A lot of you might like it. Now, first, let's go to anecdote and when I grew up. When I grew up, I trained, my first gym was Gold's Gym in Venice, California. And there was an unwritten rule, let me see if I remember the numbers, that you should never start steroids unless you can naturally bench press 315, deadlift 405, and squat 405. That was like the rule. I don't know who the hell came up with those numbers, but that's pretty much in the circle that I knew, that was like the numbers. So here's the thing, I am all for drug legalization, from marijuana to mushrooms to steroids. I think everyone should be able to have personal responsibility, personal choice, and I am pro legalization of all drugs, including steroids. It's a personal choice. However, as with any drug, there is risk reward. The reward of steroids is getting really, really big and lean. The risks for steroids, even though they don't directly cause it, it's death. That's right. You can die from some of the stuff that steroids cause. And I'll explain. While you won't inject testosterone and die immediately, we're not going to talk about insulin or diuretics because those will kill you. We're talking about just steroids, okay? It does lead to increased lipid, or let me say non-advantageous lipid profiles. It leads to increased hematocrit in the blood. And it can lead to, and we don't have definitive science on this because athletes in general have enlarged hearts. It can lead to an enlarged heart. All things that can cause heart failure, and we'll go into John Meadows, Sean Roden, all the guys that have died of heart problems. Cedric, from not steroid use, but from their lifestyle, their genetics, and everything involved. So there is an inherent risk. Also, let's go acute. If you get steroids off the black market, which a lot of steroids, when you don't get them prescribed, they're going to be on the black market. You can get dirty gear and that can kill you. It can at least give you cellulitis and have them cut out a chunk of your leg. Happened to a good friend of mine. So there's a lot of risk inherent with taking steroids. Now, if you are someone who is a candidate for HRT, I'll link my doctor down below at Hormone Health and Wellness, but that's something we'll talk about in a little bit, right? So the problem with steroids is no matter how hard you polish a piece of shit, it will not become a diamond. You could polish and polish and polish and polish and put all the shine and clean on it. Shit will just become a bigger piece of shit. You can't polish a turd into a diamond. Ron Parmeter is the one who first told me that line. Yeah, different way of saying it. Bottom line is, if you look like shit, steroids are going to make you look like a bigger pile of shit. If you are not a good-looking natural bodybuilder, Kai Green, he won the WNBF Worlds at 18 years old, right? If you are not Sean Clarita, look at what he did, WNBF, going obviously now to winning open at like 4 foot tall, 200 pounds. I mean, it's crazy, right? So at the end of the day, some people just don't respond to steroids. You will know if you're a candidate for steroids, if it will make you bigger and better, if you look good naturally. If you don't look good, if you're not lean, if you're not muscular, if you don't have good lines, good definition naturally, steroids will just make you a bigger piece of shit. Long term. Now, steroids are a commitment. If you do a cycle and then you come off, you're going to lose most, if not all, of your gains. So steroids are a lifelong commitment. Are you willing to inject and blast and cruise? Blast meaning taking a lot of steroids. Cruise meaning taking, let's say, 250 to 500 milligrams of test a week just to maintain, because your body will shut down. Your body will not come back fast enough. Your body likes homeostasis, and your body will lose most of the muscle you gain on the cycle. So are you willing to inject steroids, blast, and cruise for the rest of your life? If you're 18 years old, Hopefully you don't die early from taking steroids, or hopefully you don't get hit by a bus or whatever else can kill you. YOLO. Let's say you have another year. You want to do that for another 60 years? I don't know. Right? So for many people, steroid use to get bigger and stronger isn't worth the risk. You'll see these Jersey Shore type bros, and they'll look good, but then you see them like when you ever see here's what they look like now, and you click on the link on the Twitter ad, and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck? Look at little Hercules. His parents had him doing pull-ups and push-ups and all that shit. Now he's just a fat dude with a mullet. Like, what the hell is going on? So for most people, steroids are not worth the risk, and they can kill you. Like I said before, it causes your body to have unfavorable lipid profiles. If you don't donate blood, it causes your body to have increased hematocrit, thicker blood. It causes higher blood pressure. I knew a guy just 2 weeks ago who was taking tren, who had his heart, it was like 180 over 120. Bro, my shit sits at 110 over 70. That's scary. My advice to you guys, stay natty as long as possible. Natty gains. Now, why do I say as long as possible? Well, if you get old, hormone replacement therapy or steroids, like there's a use for drugs, right? Like if someone with ADHD, let's say I take Adderall, it's going to treat the ADHD. If someone without ADHD takes Adderall, they're going to wig the fuck out. So there is a time and place for drugs, and steroids have their time and place. And when you get old and your body stops producing, it is the fountain of youth. I can show you my blood work. I posted my heart rate and blood pressure the other day. I donate blood regularly because even though it's HRT, it will thicken your blood. It will increase your hematocrit. And dude, I sit at 1, and I just got through rhabdo from training too hard. My heart rate is a little bit elevated right now, but that's me. And guys, I'm not perfect. Like, I have fucked up. I've taken tren, I've taken Masteron, I've taken Anadrol, I've taken a ton of steroids. I have, but I am also here to tell you I regret most of it. I could have won my pro card in 2013. This latest pro card, we didn't do all that. But when I did all that shit, dude, I look back at the show, I look just as good on low dose test and DECA than I did on all the shit I was taking. But I have good genetics. If you don't have good enough genetics to win a pro qualifier on just a little bit of gear, I know somebody, one of the top bodybuilders of all time, you guess who it is, who turned pro on 1 cc of test and DECA a week. That's all he ever took up to that point. Obviously, it got more as he went. I'm not going to say who it is. This is someone, everyone watching this video, even people who don't follow bodybuilding will know. And that is why they're special. They're hyper responders. You're probably not. And if you can't get huge or look awesome naturally, not get huge, if you can't, let's say you're my height. When I competed at 170 pounds, I'm 5'7" tall, natty. I looked fucking great. Like as a natural in the 170s, I looked great. I had abs, I had little pecs, I had good legs. Well, as good as my legs are, right? They're not fucking great legs. They're good enough, right? So if you will know if you will respond to steroids. But most of the people, unfortunately, who start taking steroids, they take steroids because they look like shit. The people who get the good results on steroids are the guys like Sean Clarita, are the guys like, I'm sure Nick Walker looked amazing before he started. I assume he's on steroids. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Who am I to guess? So these guys, like, look at Brandon Curry's pictures of him back in, like, he was 18 years old. Like, dude was a running back in college. He was jacked. Everybody, I live in his area, is my old business partner. Like, everybody knows he was that jacked guy without touching a steroid, probably before he touched a weight. The problem is people who have shitty genetics think that they can look like Brandon fucking Curry and Phil fucking Heath and Nick fucking Walker. And why do I keep saying that? Steve fucking Madden. They keep thinking they'll look like that if they take tren and test and DECA. there's no compound in the world that will make up for shitty genetics. And let's top it off with shitty diet and shitty training. And usually people who look like shit don't know how to eat and train either. So then we look at the guys who have fallen, right? Your John Meadows, your Sean Roden, your Rich Piana, there's so many guys, right? And a lot of them, nobody died from steroids. And John Meadows has some genetic issues. He was missing an organ, for goodness sakes. But let's be honest, steroids helped John get to the weight he was at. John was my height, maybe a little bit shorter, and weighed even after his heart attack, he weighed 225, 230 pounds. That's a lot of weight. So simply being on steroids and being bigger, that right there is a comorbidity. That right there is going to end your life early. Getting to me, will I die before I should have died? If I die of natural causes because I took steroids in the past? Likely, very likely. I likely took years off my life. You can't reverse damage to your fucking heart. You can't reverse damage. You just can't. If your heart's enlarged, it has scarring, it's fucking enlarged, it has scarring. You know all the calcium tests in the world. Nick Walker did a calcium test. I'm like, cool. You shouldn't have calcium deposits. You're 24 years old. So at the end of the day, it's not healthy. Now, what is healthy is HRT. You'll see all the older cats, who've gone through it and trying to be healthy. They'll talk about HRT. HRT doesn't get you to a super physiological level. It gets you to high normal. So I go through a place called Hormone Health and Wellness. I'll link them down below. I talk about them all the time. I don't get paid. There is a referral. You'll see my name on the drop down. That's just to know where their traffic comes from. I don't get paid. And again, I can go to any clinic and get what I need to get probably, but my doctor's amazing there and they're amazing people. So I'll tell you what I take, right? I'm going to take a little bit of HGH, 1 to 2 IUs a day for the rest of my life. Hopefully that's a long time. I'm going to take between 125 and 200 milligrams of testosterone, depending on where my level's at and how I feel, per week, every week. I'm going to take injectable glutathione, 200 milligrams, 2 to 3 times a week. Glutathione is one of the most important antioxidants in your body. I'm going to inject L-carnitine. L-carnitine, there's so many benefits, including in rodent models, remodeling of the heart. So if you did damage your heart from steroid use, and again, this is something that Dr. Kurt and Hormone Health and Wellness can prescribe. They can prescribe levocarnitine, so you don't have to buy the black market stuff. So I'm going to inject L-carnitine. I'm going to try and get that at a couple hundred milligrams a few times a week. Those are things. Longevity. You watch Joe Rogan's podcast. You look at Derek Sinclair talking about metformin. I'm going to take that. Okay, if my thyroid's sluggish and also it potentiates HGH, potentiates its action in the body, you're going to look at something called Armour Thyroid. I take 60 milligrams of that a day. Those are all to keep me at an optimal level. Do I need them? Unfortunately, my life has been very hard. You'll say I could overdone steroids. Man, before I even started bodybuilding, my body shut down. I would have never, ever, 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 ever gone on HRT unless I absolutely had to. I would probably have started 38, 39. But unfortunately, to put myself through college, to have the life that I have now, I worked too hard, to exhaustion. And if anything takes years off my life, it's going to be work. And you have to realize that a lot of these people on HRT, a lot of Dr. Kurt's clients, they don't look like me. They probably don't even look like you, assuming you don't look as good as me because, well, I'm fucking awesome. So I'm just playing. So here's the thing. They're dealing with Wall Street executives who just want to have that edge, who just want to have energy, who want to be able to go home and be romantic with their wife or their significant other and not be too tired to do it. That's who is going and getting HRT. There's an HRT clinic right by my house. It's called the Low T Center. And I will watch people walking in and out of that place. And it's not me. It's not me. Brandon Curry ain't going there. Bo Lewis, who's local, he ain't going there. No, dude, this is Brentwood, Tennessee. It's some rich fucking executives in a suit going in there who don't even look like they lift. They just want to feel good and look good, or better than they would have looked. So the answer to the question, to surmise this, who should take steroids? Absolutely nobody. But it's up to you. If you want to take steroids, if you want to smoke weed, if you want to snort cocaine, I'll tell you what, I'll take steroids over all of those, because you can't acutely overdose on steroids and die. You can with a dopamine rush on cocaine, on heroin, on mushrooms. And at least with steroids, you get huge. Cocaine never made anyone more muscular. So as a pro-drug guy or a pro-legalize it guy, I'm going to tell you, you take steroids if you want to take steroids. However, kids, don't take steroids if you don't have to, or you haven't put enough thought into it. If you have some thought process that makes you think it'll give you a better life, by all means, it's you. As long as you're 18 plus and you're an adult, you can make your own decisions. But please don't take steroids. You don't need them. And if you are an older gentleman and you feel run down and sluggish, get your levels checked. Because it's one of those things where it's kind of weird. Because if you're young and you overdo steroids, it's really bad for you. But if you're old and you don't address a need for having adequate levels of testosterone, thyroid, and all that good stuff, then you're also putting yourself at risk. You want that balance. So if you're older, yes, HRT will and can help you. If you're young and you're healthy, steroids, they're not good for you. Sorry. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. Comment down below. Appreciate you guys watching. And if you need any sport nutrition supplements and even this cool hat, go to tigerfitness.com, tigerfitness.com. And remember, and now that I'm not competing, I'm eating about 5 to 6 outright bars a day. So I need you to go to tigerfitness.com or to your local GNC and support and buy an outright bar. I'm Marc Lobliner. Click on the notification bell, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and that's not a game.
Training intensity is everything. If you want to build muscle, if you want to get better, if you want to go hard, you need to train intense. A lot of pre-workouts, they get you intense. But then what happens? You crash. A lot of pre-workouts, they give you the pump, but then what happens? It wears off. A lot of pre-workouts, they'll give you all that stuff, but it doesn't add to your endurance. I want to be able to lift heavy. I want to be able to feel the pump. I want veins bulging from every single part of my body. I want to lift heavier weights every single time. I want to run farther. I want to run faster. I want to push harder, and I want to get bigger, stronger, and faster. And that's why I created Clash 3D. This pre-workout is next level, featuring 3D pump, Vasodrive AP, and a lot of other epic ingredients. Guys, this is the pre-workout that you need to take your workouts and your performance and your physique to the next level. Oh.